An absolute blast. You two will vouch for that, right?
Exactly.
Oh, there he goes. As far as baits today, we're using boilies. They're actually freshly made and ordered from the States. Tutti Frutti's been by far the most productive today. We're fishing those on a hair rig, about 10 inches in length. Gonna need a bait needle to get those onto your hair rig, right below a method feeder, which we're putting on a method feeder mix. As far as rods go, we're using 12-foot, 2.5-pound test curve rods. We've got a large bait runner reel here, spooled up with 30-pound test braid. Very important to have the bait runner, especially when you're fishing in the rod pod that we're using. And you can see that these fish have a lot of power here. You need that bait runner system so that when you leave the rods unattended in the rod pod, it's not going to pull it right out into the lake for you. The rod pod we're using is a European style pod. It's got fully adjustable legs. We're using 3 electronic digital bite alarms. They've got a volume control and a tone control on there so that you can set the tones differently to identify which rod's going off. We're also using swingers behind those. What they allow us to do is if the fish comes towards us, the swinger will drop. If the fish swims away from us, the swinger will come upwards. You always want to make sure you've got a waistling with you, a good scale, and a good landing net like the one we're using here. You're going to want to make sure you've got a good pair of forceps with you to get the hooks out. And unhooking that is key if you're fishing in places where there's rock and stone like we are today. That's another nice one. Wow, we got to weigh that. Pre-baiting is the key to the success of landing these fish. You've got to keep these fish feeding in the area. We've been using maize, high protein trout pellets, and what that'll do is it'll set up a sort of a field along the, like a grazing field almost for the carp out in the channel here. Make sure you got a good bait catapult, shoot a few boilies out around your hook baits like we did out by the market here. They'll come in and start feeding on the boilies and eventually pick up your hook bait, and then you're going to hook into a beauty like this. Kawartha carp. Eh? Who'd have thunk it?